Acknowledge me. Sorry to disappoint everyone, but I'm not a fan of this show.
Let's get ready because today we're diving into Unreal Season 2 on Netflix. It isn't just a recap. It is a full breakdown of what WWE is choosing to show the world. These stories, the pressure, the moments, the behind the curtains that fans not always see. And we're not going to do it alone. I'm here joined today by PGA Chris, Misfit Nation's own Chris Deshawn, bringing in real conversation, real perspective, no surface level takes. Before we get into it, we want to get a quick shout out to our sponsors who make these shows possible. First up, Dude Wipes, because whether you're on the road, at the gym, or grinding through a long session, Dude Wipes helps you keep you stay fresh, clean, ready, whatever is next. And we are proudly sponsored by Blackout Coffee, premium coffee for people who refuse to hit the snooze on life. Wake up, stand up, and never back down. Head to blackcoffee.com/Rumba. Use my code Rumba or my personal referral code at Sports Jedi 20 and save a 20% off. All right, the sponsors are locked in. The crew is assembled. Let's get to WWE Season 2 with our guys. First, let me say hello, our guest from the Misfit Nation podcast, the one and only Christian Deshawn. Buenas tardes. Salute.
Hello, fellas. How you guys doing? Hello to the whole BX Sports Jedi Nation. You know I love you guys. Likewise. You can follow me on X at Krishan the Don, also on YouTube at the Misfit Nation.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the sharpest minds on the channel, the one and only PGA Chris.
I'm excited, man. We've been talking about this fires, off air for a long time, and I've been really excited to talk about this. We got a 3-man panel here. This should be very, very fun. It should be a very, very good discussion.
All right, well, I'm going to go right into it. I have to ask this question. Is this, watching it, I know we watched the Unreal season, the WWE Unreal season, is it honest transparency or controlled storytelling? I want to ask that first question to Krishan.
It's obviously controlled storytelling. It's still wrestling at the end of the day. And you actually see this, if I could just dive right into
sure, go for it.
The first episode, you see it right away, where they're almost lying to us in that Lyra Valkyria is getting over. And I know they were telling us as the story was going, and maybe they'll get to it, that she didn't get over, but it's like there was a lot of that where you could tell like they're just trying to still push the narrative that this person's over because they want that person to be over. In reality, they should be going like, oh, Lyra's not getting over. We got to figure out something with her, which maybe we'll get that in future episodes. But I just wanted to point that out. There is like definitely controlled storytelling. The entire thing is.
Of course. Chris, I wanted to get you that your the illusion or storytelling with no days off with what do you think on that first question?
No, I agree. Lyra is a good example, but I think every situation you talk about, especially with the R-Truth, we kind of see it on TV now, bro. It's like they're going to start filming Unreal because more episodes are coming out in the summer. So they're probably doing stuff on TV that's like, well, they're doing it for Unreal. They're doing it for Unreal. So it's definitely, none of it's real. I don't want to say none of it's real, but it's definitely, you can see it even play out on their TV shows on Monday Night Raw that, okay, this is all for Unreal. Like, it's just, yeah, it's very, some things just don't make sense. But, some things, do make sense. But again, and we'll talk about that later in the show, but when it comes to the creative team, like, I refuse to believe that they would make their creative team look so stupid for the whole world to see. That's why a part of me doesn't think that half of this shit is real.
Fair enough. I want to piggyback off of that. When you mean the creative team, if they're really making them look this goofy or uninvested or don't have answers to the questions of creative, because especially when you title your first episode of season 2, No Days Off. So when I hear a title called No Days Off, that means you're working. Your mind is working. Your thoughts are working. Your creative juices are flowing 24/7. And if you're telling me, like, for instance, as we see throughout the season of Unreal, where there's a part where Brian James, the Road Dogg, wants to win wants Chelsea to win the United States title, and then what next? He didn't have an answer. That's where I'm gonna say it's are we being taken on the ride? Where especially when you title your first season Days Off, No Days Off. So Krishan, what do you think of that? There is there more legs to that, or what's your thoughts?
I don't know, because I that's the part that confuses me is the writer's room, because I do agree they make them, I think the word we were looking for is incompetent. They make them look incompetent, and that they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And yeah, that is most writers' rooms, I guess, to a degree, but they don't seem to know where they're going with any of this. It seems like they're just going on the fly. It's like part of it, I wanted to raise this question even, because we were saying that they were lying about certain things, people getting over. To me, I'm like, is it lying and controlling the narrative, or is it actually blissful ignorance in that they've convinced themselves that these things are true? Because I don't know, like, for instance, when they did the heel turn with Becky the night after WrestleMania, right? They were going like, oh my God, she's supposed to be getting booed, and Becky's getting cheered for jumping Lyra, and this is supposed to be a heel turn. This isn't the way it's supposed to go. And it's like, I'm a wrestling fan for 30 years. I could have told you the night after WrestleMania, Becky Lynch returned the night before. They're in front of the crowd. That's the Raw after WrestleMania, the purest concentrated form of wrestling fan, the smartest wrestling crowd, right? You have Becky Lynch, who they love, turn heel against somebody they don't know, and they expected Becky to get booed? Are you stupid? So that's where I'm like, I don't know if they're lying about things or if they're actually just blissfully ignorant and they're just going through the show and they're just convincing themselves that was great. That was awesome. There was also one other thing that I noticed. Triple H, one quote, he goes, betrayal is actually the greatest. It's a great catalyst to making somebody heel. And I thought to myself, it's his only catalyst. He has no other way to make heels. He doesn't know how to make heels any other way. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand. That's the part that confused me. Sorry if I went a little long on that. But
No, you're good. Chris, go ahead. Jump in, Chris. I know you got something to say on that.
No, I agree. I mean, they should have done, because he said it on the freaking point, dude. You have Becky, who's this global superstar, turn on somebody that nobody knows. And the fact that she came back at WrestleMania. So we talked about this on Weekly Wrestling. They should have done what I think about with Natty and Maxine. They should have done this with Becky and Lyra. And then maybe that reaction would have been the reaction that those producers were looking for. You should have had Lyra and Becky team up for longer, and then you had that heel turn on another day. Because like he said, right, you can't just have Becky come back at WrestleMania and then the next day, because I think it was at night 2 where that happened, and the next day she turned. Like, we saw that from a mile away. I mean, you don't really, it's, so I agree with that. But I mean, no, I do think a lot of this show is, I think that's the better way to put it. They want us to believe, like, they want us, I think you nailed it, right? Lyra's not that over, and this show is for us, not us, but like the newer wrestling fans. So when you watch this, okay, these guys said that these guys are over. These are who we're supposed to be paying attention to. Like, that's kind of what it feels like for the new viewer. Then when the new viewer watches Lyra, okay, this is how I'm gonna get over. I'm gonna watch her because Triple H Boom Boom said so. Like, that's what it feels like.
I'm gonna cheer for Lyra on Raw because I like her from Unreal.
Literally.
Yeah. It's almost like when they were doing Total Bellas, and there were people
and you see a lot of people, now that's like, well, I watch Total Bellas, Total Divas made me want to get into wrestling, or like the Bella, like shit, like, so yeah, no, I agree. This is what this show could be for. The main purpose for. I refuse to believe that this show is just, we want to tell you guys, we just want to give you guys a little access or a little, backstage behind the scenes of our world. Because every wrestling fan knows that's bullshit, because nobody wants that. You guys have much older than me and have been wrestling fans longer than I have. You guys really think that wrestling fans like you guys, like your age, want to see shit like this?
I'll be honest. I watched this whole show, and just because I grew up during the Attitude Era, I keep comparing. I keep thinking of Vince McMahon, and I should just call this show Vince Would Never. You know what I mean? where for instance,
right now,
yeah. And this is where I notice, like, where I'm like, okay, I totally understand why the product is the way it is, right? And just to bring it back to the Becky thing, just to stay on topic here, there was a part where Becky blew a spot, and I forget exactly. Oh, it was that Lyra beat her, and then she immediately went to attacking Lyra.
Oh, she didn't let the pop breathe when Lyra won, and then when she came back, Triple H was like, yeah.
And Triple H, he goes. Listen, that you should just let it, breathe a little bit. And Becky starts like beating herself up, like, yeah, I know I should. And Triple H is like, no, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. And to me, that's where I went. Vince would never. Vince would have chewed her fucking ass out, and she would have never did that again.
Vince would have put his glasses down in the Korean gorilla, and
would have done the finger. And then
I agree.
Yeah, and that's where I think we start seeing the product itself. I think there's this idea with Triple H is when somebody messes up, because Triple H, I've learned from the show, is non-confrontational. In fact, I think he's afraid of confrontation, and he's passive-aggressive, very passive-aggressive. So he really does want to say, like, listen, you really screwed up here. This could have been way better than it was, the way that Vince would do it, but he still has that no big deal, don't worry, I want you to love me. And real quick, I was just gonna say this. I think we see enough of these no big deal moments build up, and it creates the accumulation of the show that we watch today, where these wrestlers have, oh well, I screwed up, but no big deal. That's the mentality in WWE now.
And real quick, before Kev goes, you know who else I get that from? Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon's boy. He didn't say right that thing you just mentioned where Becky comes, because she goes to Seth right after, and Seth like, no, it was good. Paul Heyman sitting next there, he was like, but Bruce didn't say a single word, and you could tell, like, it's like, come on, Hunter, like, he wanted to say something, but he's not, because I just think he's a big part of this. I don't think we should totally excuse Bruce Pritchard out, because if we're talking about Vince McMahon, he's the closest thing there, besides obviously his son-in-law and all that stuff. So
he was with Vince through
exactly. So you saw how you guys covered the Vince McMahon documentary. You guys know how he spoke about him. So it's like you can even see sometimes throughout the documentary with Bruce Pritchard along with Triple H. It's like, oh my God, like it's you could tell it's very different for him.
Fair enough. Absolutely. But going back to bringing some blurring of the truth reality, because I think they do that well. We see Becky and Seth Rollins dynamic outside of the ring, their family life. How uneasy did it feel her calling him Kobe? Listen, that's his wife. I mean, she's not going to sleep and call him Seth. I mean, she's gonna call him Kobe, obviously. But is that them giving us that reality, or just let's throw those nuggets to blur the line on kayfabe, or we really are exposing the business? I'll go to Chris first, and then I'll go to Christian.
Well, no, because when she talks about Seth on interviews, she doesn't call him Seth. Like, she's always been very open about how it's very weird for her to call Seth Colby. And it's totally understandable. Like, she doesn't know Seth Rollins. She knows Colby Lopez. Like, you know, we all, you know, he's Seth Rollins to us, you know, that's Colby to her. I get that. I mean, I think that is a little bit of reality. She's been very open in the past. You know, she hates calling him Seth. She does not like it. And I think it's very weird too. Like, my name's Colby Lopez. I've gone by Tyler Black. I've gone by this. I've got like, oh, I hate that shit. But no, I think that's, you know, that's reality, because again, they're married. It makes perfect sense. And she's been very open in the past about how she does not call him Seth.
I can imagine. You don't call him Terry Bollea. He's Hulk Hogan, pal.
I mean, Vince would never.
Vince would never. I'm telling you. Well, to me, it's one of those things. Like, it's either you're gonna do it or you're not. Like, I think it would be ridiculous to see them walking around the house calling each other their wrestling names. So I'd almost rather them not. Just don't do it then. At the same time, it's, again, this goes into they're blurring the lines and they're showing us what they want to show us. Because, for instance, they did a whole thing on Gunther, which I think was the next storyline in chronological order. Gunther versus Pat McAfee. And if you notice, they protect Gunther on that show. They don't really give you too much of Gunther. You get what I'm saying? They'll show him backstage talking to Triple H, which, by the way, you can get a really good gauge from this show on who Triple H trusts and who he likes and who he doesn't. Gunther, he trusts and loves Gunther to death, because there was a point where Pat McAfee, and it's very subtle, Pat McAfee was a little worried about getting gassed, and he was like, oh man, I'm a little worried. And Triple H went up to him and was like, listen, if you need a breath, just tell Gunther, he's got it. Don't even worry about it, bro. Like, he has ultimate trust in Gunther, and that's why I think he gave him ultimately John Cena the retirement. But yeah, I don't know. It's to me like, yeah, they're protecting who they want to protect still, and then I think they want to humanize certain people. However, I don't think Seth is really the guy. He's not really even that personality. Like, I personally don't see a difference between Seth Rollins and Colby. I feel like it's the same guy. So you can see a difference in, like, Becky Lynch talking as Rebecca. She changes her personality. Mm-hmm. Seth is just the same guy no matter what.
I get that vibe too.
And here's when it comes to Gunther, because you see Gunther, I want to touch that, and I'll throw this to Chris in a second. When I saw Gunther speaking with Triple H, when he calls him Walter, Walter, come here. What we're seeing currently right now, because Triple H gets a lot of slings and arrows his way. Like, he hasn't really developed a superstar. He inherited the bloodline. Cody was brought in by McMahon before he left, and Gunther, to me, is his superstar making. He is going to be the one that's going to carry the Levesque era. If we could agree, we'll throw that around. If we, hear your thoughts on that. But I think Gunther is Triple H's guy. Reminds him of Killer Kowalski, his mannerisms and all, the classic heel. He entrusts him. He's called the ring general, like you mentioned, like Pat McAfee. If you need a breather, let Gunther know. He'll put you on a submission hold. If you could slow the match down, take control of the match and so forth. So we're really seeing right now in this Unreal Season 2, Episode 1, is Triple H's guy that he has full stake and control in his legacy right now, if you could say, of his first major star that he's really building. Chris, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you guys both know that, hit it on the head here, because I think when I watched this and you guys both talked about, him being gassed and that specific thing, I also look at this when there was one thing, I think right before they went out, and Triple H was like, yo, did you figure out what you're going to do? Did you figure out what you're going to do? And Gunther goes, I haven't figured it out yet. And then that was the thing right there. That was like, okay, now I know why Gunther's getting the push he is currently right now. That was besides the McAfee being gassed and all that quote that Triple H said, that little thing, did you figure out what you're going to do? Because that means to me that Gunther or Triple H has no idea, doesn't really know what's going on, and he's trusting Gunther to make it right. I don't think, look, this might be a hot take. I think Gunther is Triple H's only. It's not just his first, well, first, yes, but this is his main or his only. I can't think of any other superstar on this roster that you could say that Triple H has developed from the time that he's walked in NXT, because we know Triple H is a big NXT guy. You can't say that unless it's him. He's the only person I can really think of off the top of my mind that's Triple H's only guy. So this just made it utterly clear. Who was the clown that said that Pat McAfee should win? There was one thing in...
It was one of the writers.
One of the writers suggested Pat McAfee winning and was like... And I'm happy... The one guy, I got to remember his name, but he shut that shit down. It was like, is Pat McAfee going to be here the next day? Like, we're really going to have Gunther or Pat McAfee, our color commentator, lose to... Like, again, that goes back to my question. Is this for show, or the writers disagreeing for the show? Because there's no way in hell that a normal writer that wants to make this shit good would even suggest Pat McAfee, who, again, that writer called out was perfect. You're really going to have your color commentator beat Gunther all because he beat up his best friend?
If I would totally agree with you if the product on TV was way better. Then I would go, yeah, this is definitely just for show. But then when I see the product that they give us every week, I'm like, I don't know.
No, I agree.
It's a fair statement.
I know you do. Yeah.
Because, I mean, come on. There's no way Triple H would. Like, I know Triple H, I don't think we really saw his face or his reaction, but I could tell just, like, come on, man. But no, I mean, I agree with both of you. I mean, Gunther is Triple H's guy. He is, I see why he's getting the push, and it wasn't just him. You saw it with Io Sky. I think Io Sky on the women's side's another person that Triple H has that big trust. And you can even, that's somebody on the women that you could even say about Triple H's Io, not to the degree, but, because, Rhea kind of had the vent, Bianca very vent. So Io was another one that I caught, I took notice.
Yeah, I mean, Triple H doesn't give special hugs to everybody. Just to Io.
I've got a question when it comes to that. The making of the superstar from the black and gold Triple H era to which with this Unreal with the Gunther and so forth. But I'm gonna give you my take. But before that, we need to make a quick break. We want to make sure that we keep our sponsor happy. We're gonna hear from Blackout Coffee. So give me real quick reset and we'll be right back.
Sports Jedi Nation, you already know how I move. I don't start my day without two things: standing firm in what I believe in, and a cup of coffee that actually represents those values. That's why I rock with Blackout Coffee. It's a 100% American company, unapologetic, patriotic, pro-Second Amendment, an anti-woke nonsense, no corporate posturing, no virtual signing. Just real coffee for people who still believe in God, family, and freedoms. Every bag is a roast right here in my beautiful state of Florida, and it's shipped straight to your door. Fresh, bold, no compromises. If you need to hit the ground running, the Morning Reaper I suggest, a medium roast that goes smooth, powerful, and kicks like a mule. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. Go to Blackout Coffee Rumba. Use my promo code Rumba for 20% off or Sports Jedi 20 of your first order. Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Fuel your freedom. Real coffee with real values. A bold, backed by freedom. Wake up and think free. And may the sports be with you.
All right, thank you there.
Coffee, baby.
There you go. There you go. Making strong takes. When I was looking at this, and I've said this, and I've been very vocal. I know everyone loves the black and gold era, and I know it's a little bit off topic from the Unreal, but I want to bring it since we're talking about Gunther, aka Walter, and I've say this, and I say this now. NXT 2.0 has produced much more superstars right now that is currently in the landscape of the WWE's future than black and gold. And it's a hot take. People right now, I can hear people disagreeing, telling me to go take the coffee and give myself an enema with it. But None of them. Where, and I said this and I put this names. All the top guys. Karrion Kross can't even get on a major promotion company. And I like Karrion. We love Karrion Kross. Follows us. Keith Lee, where is he? Adam Cole, who? Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. All these guys that Triple H pushed and made black and gold. Not even a sniff when the major leagues, when the lights are bright. Now you look at 2.0 era. Braun Breaker. He's the future. Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, Lyra Valkyria to a degree where, you know, Riker, Tiffany Stratton. There's Roxanne Perez. There's so many names there. It showed. Now I asked this with Black and Gold when it comes to Triple H. Walter's his guy, but how much Dusty Rhodes influence was involved with Triple H?
I gotta add to that even.
Go ahead.
I almost don't fully give credit to Triple H for Gunther, as I guess I'll say as you guys do, in that I don't consider Gunther as a star built by Triple H. I think he was influenced by many people, including Vince McMahon, in that two major things. I remember when Gunther was on NXT, he was doing his thing, and then Vince McMahon had two criticisms for him, which he ended up being completely right about, and everybody pushed back on Vince McMahon for this. One, he needed to change his name from Walter. I think that was a great move. I think Walter the name just wouldn't have gone anywhere. It's too normal. It's a normie name. Gunther, it's weird, but it has like a sound to it. It's like something different. You know what I mean? And two was that he needed to lose weight and get in shape. And I remember everybody pushed back on Vince McMahon on that. And they were like, he's just going to make him look like everybody else. And that's part of his look and this and that. And when he lost weight and got in shape, it was the best thing he did for his career. And it makes him, like, to me, it makes him a little more even intimidating in that, like, he's a dude that looks like he could really hurt somebody. So I think Vince McMahon was the one that actually added the two like biggest like catalysts to Gunther actually skyrocketing. I don't think Triple H would have made those decisions without Vince.
Chris?
That's fair. I want to piggyback off what you said a little bit, though, because you gave some names, but I would also, because I'm a big Black and Gold fan. I would also give you some names. Sasha Banks, Io Sky, Asuka, Rhea. Listen, and I'll get to my point. Kevin Owens, Sammy, Shinsuke, Finn. Now, I know those guys aren't Triple H developed talent because half of those guys came from other places, Ring of Honor, New Japan, all that other stuff. But my thing is, they did come to Black and Gold, and I think Triple H booked those guys strong for an intro. Like, when you see guys from now go to NXT, like, who they are, but recently, like, now it's more mainstream. Everybody watches everything, but I might not know who some of these people are. Like, same thing back then. I think Triple H did a good job of getting those guys seasoned to the quote unquote WWE audience. Like, Vince McMahon just took them over and then build them up. But I think Triple H had a small bit to do with bringing those guys into the WWE exposure, if that makes sense.
But I got to add to this. This is where I think I question to give Triple H credit or not, right? Mm-hmm. In that, let's take two people, Gunther and Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Right? Gunther, like, this is my theory. I don't believe Triple H does well with people who need guidance. You know what I mean? Like, Triple H is good at pushing people who are already stars, or are like really competent and they don't need much guidance. For instance, Gunther is a guy that I think no matter who his boss is, he's just going to take it and he's going to fucking run with it and he's going to be great. Like, we also have to accept this. Some people are just special. You know what I mean? Brock Lesnar is special. He was going to be a star with or without WWE, right? Gunther is special in that you can see it. Triple H can just go, I don't need to know everything you're going to do. Just go out there and just be great. That means Triple H doesn't need to guide him that much. Now, you take a guy like Braun Breaker, who's special, but he's a guy that needs a little bit of guidance. He needs to be taught some things. He needs somebody, a legend like Triple H, to take him under his wing and say,
that's why Paul Heyman's with him.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But the problem is Paul Heyman isn't a wrestler. He needs a wrestler behind the scenes to go, listen, and not his father and not his uncle. That's different. He needs somebody who's a mentor that's not going to like coddle him so much. But my point is that Braun Breaker, when compared to Gunther, is not as competent as Gunther is. Braun Breaker almost breaks his neck every fucking week. You know what I mean? Like he needs guidance, and Triple H is not the guy that does that. He needs somebody who's already built and already a star, and he doesn't know how to build new stars. That's my problem with him, where I don't know if I can give him the credit. When I see him take like a guy like Braun Breaker or somebody who is kind of incompetent and make him a competent star, then I'll give him credit.
To a degree, what's hurting him here, and it's well needed. If Shawn Michaels will be on Triple H's side on the main roster, they will really kick ass. But you do need Shawn Michaels' importance in NXT development, because you see how he molds these young wrestlers, from a Trick Williams, from a Carmelo Hayes, from Braun Breaker, the Creeds, when they were, you see how he booked and got these kids developed on NXT. To then Triple H is not. You need, that's where, again, when you mentioned that statement saying having that wrestler there, I trust his Heyman, but he trusts his Bruce Pritchard to a degree. Could we say Michael P.S. Hayes is that guy? But I don't know how much invested Hayes is. He looks like he's ready for retirement rather than getting re-energized. Because listen, Michael Hayes was one of the main producers and catalysts of the Bloodline story. That shit fed the world until a fucking guy in a pink robe started crying and changed the whole story narrative that fucked up the wrestling business.
Michael Hayes is just happy to be there. That's what I get from it.
I agree, because oh my god, look, I don't. Again, I feel like we're jumping too ahead, and I apologize, but we're talking about Michael Hayes. The one thing that stood out to me in this whole thing, he talked about Chelsea Green.
Yes, let's get into that one, because it's a little bit of everything.
So his quote, I have. I took a screenshot of his quote. If I can find it right here, he said something along. Oh, he said Chelsea is so entertaining, but she's not built to be, nor should she be, in the Charlotte Flair role or the Tiffany Stratton role. Her job is to make those people look good. Her job is to make those people.
Good.
Kind of paraphrasing. So my thing is this. Every time I see Chelsea Green in a big opportunity, let's say, for some, she gets added to like a Saturday Night's main event for the world title, like Zelina did in Puerto Rico, for the world title against Rhea. We knew she was going to lose, but let's say whatever with that. You really expect me to think that Chelsea Green has a fucking chance? If that's what these producers think of her, they're openly telling us that they don't see Chelsea Green in that main event spot. How does that make her feel? I mean, I might be overthinking it, but it's like, you really don't see this girl. They literally say she's entertaining. She's good at what she, they give her shit and she turns it good. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that one. Maybe it's because I like Chelsea and I think she's very talented. I think she's, again, been handed very bad creative in the past and has turned it entertaining and somewhat decent. But I don't know. That's just what I get. And Michael Hayes, that quote just, it didn't sit right with me.
I kind of I disagree with that in a way. In that I could see how you read it that way.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think what he's saying, like for instance, I don't think he's saying that she's not going to be in the main event. I think what he's saying is that she's not going to be the one who wins the title in the main event and the crowd goes crazy. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so she's not going to get the reaction like a Tiffany Stratton.
No, not even that. What he's saying is that she's the one that garners that reaction. In that she's like
a Dolph Ziggler.
I don't know if I want to give her this much credit, but she's like the Ric Flair of the women's division, and I think that's the way he's saying it. In that he's not, Ric Flair wasn't ever going to be Hulk Hogan, but he was going to be in the main event with Hulk Hogan as the heel to put Hulk Hogan over. And I think it's that you look at Chelsea. I love Chelsea. I think she's great, actually, and I'm not the biggest fan of women's wrestling, but she's one of the few that I'm like actually entertained by. But I look at her and I go, she's never going to be like, she's not a baby face. She's a quintessential heel.
Uh-huh.
So I took it as that. Maybe it's because I look at her that way. I don't ever see her as a baby face. She's just too annoying, and she's too good at being that to ever. She may have a moment of being a baby face, but she's not like, it's like Becky Lynch. She's a quintessential baby.
I just kind of got out of it.
Heel.
Yeah, I just kind of got out of it like, okay, you think Chelsea Green? Okay, so like it's just me watching the product. Let's put it this way: me watching the product, and if I'm watching Unreal and I see, like, it's just hard to maybe invest in her a little bit more. Like, I hear what you're saying though, because there's a lot of people that I can name that I think played that role. Like, they weren't the main event; they were in those main event matches, but nobody paid to see. Yeah, these certain people. Maybe that's the role she could play, and I can agree with that. But
you pay to see her get her ass whipped,
right? Like, yeah. That's fair. But it just what I feel like watching the product. If I see Chelsea in a big storyline, I'm not expecting her to win it either way, just by me watching the product. Now I'm even not going to expect her to win it by watching that. I don't know, just. But maybe just because I watched the product and it's like, so is it like, I don't know. It might, I'm worried that that's what's going to be in my head. Maybe that's going to translate. I'm going to be thinking of Michael Hayes saying she's not going to, I don't know.
Can I put this out there?
Yeah, please.
Did by hearing those comments, aren't you more emotionally behind the underdog, sympathetic character? Now
no, because they did the whole thing with her in season 1, and she hasn't done anything since.
But maybe they want to build a momentum where you're feeling like, damn, Chelsea, we want Chelsea. That's why as we record this
last year,
I've been saying for months that she's winning the Royal Rumble.
I almost get the opposite from it. I get the idea that, again, they see her as the quintessential heel of the female division, and even the way they presented her, like, the one thing that made me like her like more as like a person was that, she gets her nose broken and she has a really good like attitude about it, and she's like joking around and shit. Like, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool of her. But I like where they're like, showing her getting her house, and she's just kind of like, showing off her mansion and stuff. Like, it's all still heel stuff. Like, it's still stuff that doesn't necessarily endear you in an underdog kind of way. It's showing that she's a star. She's making a lot of money. So I'm just saying, I still get the idea that they just see her as the heel, and she's always going to have a place. And I get the opposite kind of reaction of, that means she's going to have the title probably even more, because they like heels having titles, because then they can have a babyface run to it.
I hope so.
You just have to accept that she's never going to be the babyface,
right?
And all
no,
that.
and I'm not saying I'm really expecting her to, because, I mean, now that speaking of her, right? They talked about it. So if we put like the U.S. because they were hesitating about putting the U.S. title on her, and it's like, if we put the U.S. title on her, who's she gonna fight? Michin, BFAB, all these people. And if she fights somebody like an Alexa, Triple H's exact words were, if she fights somebody like an Alexa, she's gonna have to lose. So I kind of, now that I'm thinking of that quote too, and what you just said, no, that's very fair.
We'll see with Chelsea. I still think, I think they've got something in Chelsea. They know they've got something in Chelsea. I think for the newer audience, we got to think about this. They also want to put a storylines for someone who never watched wrestling, the ladies. Like, why did he say that about her? Let me see her. And then they see Chelsea, and they see her and how entertaining she is. Like, why did he say that? And people are going to get behind her emotionally, be that comment. Because remember, let's face it, a lot of women when they watch this and they hear a dude like that looks like him, like, you know, no disrespect to Michael Hayes, he looks, I mean, like, you know, I mean, he looks a mess. He's gonna say that about him, like this guy has the nerves to say about this woman, and I don't know. I think that's a rallying for non-wrestling fans to get behind the Chelsea and want to see her succeed. So I could see where they know. Remember, they're blurring the line of what is there really reality, what is illusion, what do they want us to think with that. Speaking of that, we want to know what the hell is the truth. You know, we're watching this show and we need to know about the truth. But when I move on to my next one, I want to know something really, really about the truth is how are you keeping yourself clean each and every morning? And we're going to hear from Dude Wipes.
All right, quick break. Don't go anywhere. This segment is sponsored by Dude Wipes. Whether you're grinding through work, hitting the gym, or locked in for a full night of wrestling, Dude Wipes help you stay fresh, simple as that. Portable, convenient, and designed for real life. And of course, this show is powered by the Sports Jedi Network. Independent wrestling coverage, real discussion, and a community that actually knows the product. If you rock with what we do here, support the sponsors that support the channel. Now, let's get back to the breakdown. Take it away, PGH Chris and Sports Jedi Kev.
You're watching Jedi Sports Network with Kev.
All right. This is the one I want to know about. Was there ever a contract to bring back our truth, or was it the fans that really revoked in the lock, or was it the immunity of the locker room where the morale was so down with such an entertaining, beloved person in the workplace? Or, you know, what's Krishan, our truth? What is the truth of our truth here?
Okay, let me try to be as quick as possible here. First off, I said earlier, maybe we were using the word lying with Triple H a little too loosely. This is one of those moments that Triple H straight up lied. And it's funny because even Netflix couldn't cover for him. He's like, yeah, R-Truth's contract lapsed because there was miscommunication or communication breakdown. He was very vague, extremely vague about the contract itself. He didn't even explain whether or not was it negotiations that broke down? Was it that just the contract lapsed and you didn't realize it? I didn't understand it. What it sounded like was that my theory is that they were actually negotiating something and they couldn't come to terms because I don't think TKO thought Truth was as valuable as he actually is, and Truth knew his value and was willing to just let that go. And where Triple H straight up lied was he goes, Truth went on the internet and got them all riled up claiming he was fired. And then they flashed a tweet and it's Truth saying he got released. And Truth the whole time was like, no, I just said I got released, which is the truth, which was the truth. He got released. So Triple H was trying to make it sound like Truth went on the internet and purposely riled them up with a lie, which wasn't a lie. And I think Truth, the part that I don't know if Truth is just being like, he's trying to come off as more naive than he is. I think he did maybe do that, put that out to get, some kind of reaction. And it did. I don't think he expected the reaction. The part that made me realize what brought Truth back was they cut to a clip of Cody Rhodes just going, no, you can't get rid of Truth. Well, I don't care what the money is. You gotta talk the truth. Now, this goes back to the thing of who does Triple H trust and who is in his circle. He has an inner circle that's kind of being exposed here. Cody Rhodes is 100% in his inner circle of maybe his top guy over Gunther as far as like the guys he goes and consults with. I think Cody and a lot of the wrestlers, I don't think the fans had anything to do with it. I think the wrestlers and Cody specifically went to them and said, listen, we got to bring Truth back. Like, whether it be for morale, the fans, whatever it is, Truth has to be here. He's just a staple. And I think that's what brought him back. And then they went into the contracts and it made WWE and TKO realize like, oh shit, this guy means more than we thought. And that's why Nick Khan went and actually negotiated with Truth personally. So I'll let you guys go with that. I have more to say, but I'll let you guys go.
No, we'll hold. Let's try to put a pin on that one. We'll get back to you again, and Christian. Get Chris.
I think, I listen. I say this all the time. TKO, WWE, they don't give a shit about us. They don't. They care about making money and doing what's best for business. I agree. I think the fans had nothing to do with this. I wanted to give the benefit of the doubt before the Unreal came out, but again, I Triple H don't want him there. I mean, look at the Saturday night. I want to talk about Road Dogg for a second, because look at when they were talking about the whole Saturday night's main event thing. Dude, this guy Road Dogg, whoa, I'm gonna get hurt. Move on. You can't separate. This is why SmackDown hasn't been the first couple episodes of this year haven't been bad, but the last couple months of SmackDown last year have sucked, and I can kind of see why. I mean, can this guy not put his personal and creative, aside, like personal and business aside? That's just my question. I'm not going to speculate. That's just my question, because he was very, they did a whole thing about Road Dogg and R-Truth's history and all that stuff. I don't know. To me, when they were in that room talking about the Saturday night's main event where Cena's going to fight Truth, it looks like Triple H don't even want that shit to happen. To me, I think Road Dogg pushed to get that match even happen. That match does not happen, in my opinion, without Road Dogg. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say, but I think I might have forgotten it. But it had something to do with Road Dogg as well. But yeah, I mean that's what I took out of it. Triple H didn't even want him there. He didn't want him on that Saturday night's main event. I mean, one more thing before I throw it to you, Kev. When they were back at Gorilla, where R-Truth is walking and he's dressed up as John Cena. Come on, you're gonna tell me you didn't know that? You thought you didn't? Oh shit! That Truth? Come on. I mean, that's going to be confusing. Just look at his demeanor. I mean, he did not want this match to happen. He did not want that man to go out there. I agree with the fans thing. At first, I wanted to give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, like you said, I didn't even think of the Triple H, the Cody Rhodes clip until I didn't really think that meant much until you brought that up. So that's a good, that raises my eye a little bit, but that's what I think, dude. I think Triple H just didn't want him there.
To be fair, I think he was joking about the thing of like, oh wait, is that?
I do too. No, I do too. But when he said that could be confusing, like just his face, like, no, I don't know.
I was gonna say I got the feeling from watching Unreal that Triple H doesn't really like R-Truth too much.
Right.
I don't know why
he doesn't want him there.
This is my theory. Again, this is all conjecture. I think Triple H, the main thing that I've noticed is Triple H wants to be loved by his roster. He wants them to be like, he wants like 20 years from now for those wrestlers to be like, I didn't believe in myself, but Triple H came up to me and said I was the greatest in the business, and it put a fire under me and I became the great. Like Triple H just wants to be loved, and I think part of him, because he has shown in his past that he is kind of vindictive and he's spiteful, is that he sees that R-Truth is a guy who is beloved by his colleagues, to the point where they fought for him to come back. And I think a part of Triple H is a little bit jealous, and part of him goes like, he wants that kind of love from his roster and he doesn't get it. And I think he doesn't understand why Truth is so loved. And part of him like kind of goes like, I don't even get it. He's not even that funny. He like makes himself not like him for some reason. So I that's my just made up thing. But I do think Triple H like was right in one thing, and the whole thing was when Road Dogg said that Truth wants to cut his hair. And Triple H goes, like, why? What's the reason? It doesn't even make sense. And I totally agreed with him in that. However, after the whole debacle went down and everything, R-Truth comes to him and goes, hey, can I cut my hair now? And he's like, yeah, sure. And it's like he just gives into it. And it ends up that it was right. Like, because what did it ever mean at the end of it? Like, And it shows you why R-Truth never went anywhere after that, because they didn't really have anything. They just were just trying to get over the bad PR and bring Truth back. And okay, now we're back at, status quo. There's nothing after that. If he really cared, he would have said, no, listen, what we're going to do, we're going to put you in a hair versus hair match against Dominic or somebody and make this mean something. He just goes, yeah, go ahead, cut your fucking hair. I don't care.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, it also gave me a little bit of the cynical part of me. I know why. Now I can see why The Rock said, F you all, I'm not coming to WrestleMania next year. Because of the Cody Rhodes, Triple H. I'm going to stick with my guns with it. I think Dwayne wanted to wrestle Roman, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, and Triple H changed the card on him. Because if you remember, they went with Cody. He wanted to wrestle Roman, and Cody was going to get his title shot later. That whole debacle, when you said his circle of trust and Cody brings Truth back, you need to bring him back. That showed me right there. The Rock said, fuck you. Fuck the wrestling right now. I'm going to go win an Academy Award. I'm going to go freaking get an Oscar. You know what? They took this away from me. I'm sorry. I'm going to feel about it. It just felt that way. Then he goes, you know what? Fuck John Cena. F John Cena. I'm not going to show up. Travis Scott will go, because one thing that I told you, Chris, if you remember, when The Rock couldn't do a video vignette to wish Triple H for his Hall of Fame. Not even a video recording. You could record it about him in a rodeo and Cody. Remember when he doing all those vignettes about Cody Rhodes, the road to WrestleMania, and even in Hawaii and all that stuff on working out, and even shooting on La Greca. Guys in this pink robe. You telling me you couldn't do it? Congratulations, man. We battled throughout the years. I'm glad I'm part of your story of your Hall of Fame career, yada yada. Nothing. So what that tells me there, you sided with Cody. You know what? Now figure it out. I'm not going to be helping you guys one bit. That's the way I felt when you said the circle of trust. If Cody is one of those that said we needed truth and he listens to Cody, it just made more sense to me.
Well, I personally believe that circle of trust was built around that time. I think when that I think there was that whole slap happened. And then there was the whole divide of The Rock is going to take over the WrestleMania main event, and the fans were divided. I think also the roster got divided in that whole thing. And I think that's when guys I think Seth Rollins has always been a Triple H guy. But Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes became I think it divided the roster in a weird way. But yeah, I just I don't know, to the R-Truth thing, I just don't. I just think that was almost a divide into itself as well, and a lot of people lobby. You look at even he had his album release party, and you could tell it was just a little goofy event he put together. And if you pay attention to that whole crowd was filled with WWE superstars. I saw
Carmelo,
Montez,
yeah.
Miz was in there. The Miz was the hypest person in the whole crowd. Miz
Senior.
Cena's dad showed up. Though the people that work with R-Truth love that guy to death. They love him way more than we even love him. You know what I mean? So it's I think that caused a little divide as well, and people were even his brain trust was no, you gotta fold on this one. You have to. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say real quick, in his relationship with Road Dogg, Triple H and Road Dogg, I think that's also somebody in his circle, like you guys were talking about, because we know the history there. Too. Yeah, no, I agree that I bring him up just because you're talking about dividing. Maybe that divided creative, not just a talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it got all the way up to Nick Khan, to where he had to have an hour conversation with R-Truth personally.
I agree.
Come on, bro. Can I just add one thing before we move on from R-Truth? The whole thing, that whole sequence that they showed where they executed the whole R-Truth return was while I watched it, that was one of those moments I became a 8-year-old fan again. in that, like, I just loved seeing that, even the backstage perspective of it. Like, I was like, this is why I love wrestling. Like, the way it happened, like seeing them go like, okay, he just hit Cody with the title. Okay, send in truth. And then they show truth running in and the whole unveil. It was like, this is wrestling. This is why I love this stuff. So it was almost one of those moments where I was like, I kind of hate this show, but I kind of love it too.
No, when you add to that, I think I had this conversation with Chris off the air earlier, before we recorded this video. I was talking about the dirt sheets, and we all know they're going overseas to Riyadh for the Royal Rumble, and I said, you know what? We mentioned a certain reporter. If he talks negative about the company and he's not doing you any favors, how does he keep getting information ahead of time to spoil stuff? Triple H just got to seal it with, circle trust, tell 2 people, 3 people, and shit won't get out to the dirt sheets. No one had truth returning the way that happened, because as we saw at Unreal, 3 to 4 people knew about it. Of course he's going to tell Cody and John, because they didn't want them to attack, thinking that's a rogue fan jumping the barricade to attack there. I don't even think the referee, or we'll find out, we'll talk about a little more about the referee in a moment, about certain people on the aspects of knowing who is going to return.
Jay and Logan didn't even know.
No.
He forgot.
Neither did Michael Cole, because Nick or Triple H was like, I think this is why Nick Khan is the guy, right? Nick Khan or Triple H says, I want to tell Michael Cole. And then Nick Khan goes, no, why would you tell Michael? Like, what? So I'm paraphrasing, because he was like, remember when Punk came back? And then Triple H was like, good call.
Yeah.
So like Cole, like, yeah. So like that.
And Cole is that he even said it. Cole is the type that's like, I'm glad you didn't tell me. Like, I wanted to be surprised. So
yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
And you get genuine reaction out of that. You get that exciting reaction from the narrator who's going to tell the story of the WWE currently right now, in Michael Cole. So that was a great job there, not knowing. And one thing that I wanted to switch gears and telling things that not knowing was the Seth Rollins injury.
Yes,
we wanted to know about that with the Seth Rollins injury, due to the fact that not knowing. They came up with this angle where Rollins, about the injury angle. I love the fact that they didn't even include Jessica Carr to know about the angle, which was really cool, the referee, because she's going to go full protect the talent mode. And now they're going to show it also kind of puts her on a test, like, if there really is an injury, how is she really going to act, and how is her judgment of protecting the talent in the ring? So it was a lot there to unpack. Who wants to go with Christian, you want to talk about that Seth Rollins, how that all came about, and how did you enjoy that?
I want to talk about this because I've had a bone to pick with the IWC for quite a while on this one. Because when it happened, I remembered, like, when it was revealed that he wasn't actually injured, a lot of wrestling fans got really mad at that, and they were like, how could they do this? What if he's really injured, nobody's going to care. They're going to think it's a work and this. And I go, like, is this your first, like, year of being a wrestling fan? Like, worked injuries has been part of wrestling since I can remember. In fact, they stopped doing it because of that mentality, and I kind of hate it. Like, I wish they did worked injuries where, like, I think Dominic would be a great guy to do a worked injury, where he comes out with a wrapped up leg and he's just talking on the mic the whole time and just pissing people. And then, eventually does the heel thing where he takes the cast off and attacks somebody. Like, I miss that type of stuff. So it's like, to me, the worked injury, I loved it. Like, it completely worked me. I thought he was actually injured. A part of me was like, I don't know, is it? But it brought me back to that old school, like, I don't know, which I love. And it made me realize when I was watching Unreal, wrestling fans now, the new age wrestling fans, do not like being worked. They see it as an insult. They see it as an insult to their intelligence, and they don't understand then what it means to be a wrestling fan. Like, I love being worked. I love when I didn't see something coming and I'm like, damn, they got me. Wow. Like, that it excites me. And I think that made me realize these new fans, they get mad about it. They want to be the ones that knew everything. They want to be the Dave Meltzer of the new generation. And when they get worked, they feel they feel like they got duped or something. And to me, that's just being a wrestling fan. I wish they tricked me more. It's carny stuff. They're supposed to do that. So that was my take on it. I loved Paul Heyman's whole dissertation on the work, and him even starting it with, let me just be honest, I'm not a big fan of this show. It's like that got me right away. And I'm like, okay, let's hear what Paul Heyman has to say. And then he goes into why the work is so important. And I think that was his subtle way of telling the wrestling fans, you're ruining wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You people are ruining wrestling. The work is part of our business. It's our bread and butter. And you get mad about it. So that's my whole take on it. I think the wrestling fans overreacted, and they just, I don't understand it.
Yeah, to a degree, I agree with you, because one thing that bothers me and pisses me off, and yes, I am part of that, or this channel was part of that wrestling community, wrestling IWC, with all that good stuff. The spoilers. Or I gotta, this is, I was reported, or sources told me, and they want to throw out the card before it even starts, 10 minutes before it starts. This guy is going to open up first. This match is going to be the opening contest. Can we at least give us some elements of surprise? Could we give us a little bit of and the thing is, well, don't go, and I hate this rebuttal, don't go on social media then. The whole world is consumed on social media now, from information, from politics to scoreboard to watching. It's going to be there, but this is the world they want to live in. They want to report it first. And I that's one thing that just burns me, but I'm just going to get off my long rant here. But hey, Chris, your thoughts on this Rollins injury and the angle and Heyman and all that good stuff?
No, yeah, I liked it. To piggyback off what you guys are talking about, because I think it's important, because it does have to do with this specific, part of the show of Unreal. I agree, man. I love being worked. I mean, I think back to Punk returning. I mean, I just think back, Punk's my, one of my childhood heroes, but I hate that too, because I'm 23. I'm a newer wrestling fan, but I feel like I'm a little more educated, where in the sense of, I love wrestling so much. I know what it's about, like you as a fan, and you want to feel that genuine reaction. And, it's hard now for us, because we're all in this podcasting space. I've been doing this since 2019, because I started doing it when AEW came out. So 2020. And, since then, it's kind of like, it's been hard to get a surprise. It's been very, very hard for me, who's been doing this and so engaged in the social media community for the last 4 years. So I like that. I liked what they did. Now, here's my question, because I saw some things online and all that stuff where they were talking about who they should tell. There was a lot of people talking about, why would they tell LA Knight? Why would they tell LA Knight? And the one thing I did agree with Triple H is, would you really want LA? Like, for storyline wise, I understand. Or just in general, like just the general scheme of things, I understand. But I think Triple H is right. One of the few things he got right in this whole show was, you can't have LA Knight think that he's in the ring. Like, when you're in the ring with somebody, you are responsible for not just yourself, but the other person. If I'm in the ring with somebody and my opponent gets hurt, I would feel some type of, did I do something? Was it my fault? Was it my timing off? Like, what happened? So if Seth Rollins comes out, in LA Knight's, like, I would completely understand if he's outraged and like, yo, you didn't tell me, like, I was involved, I was in the match, and I could have even played it off. We could play this in the future storylines. Like, what do you guys think of that?
I totally agree. I thought Triple H made the right call there. In that, like, also just even in the interest of safety, in the interest of respect.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, now, to a degree, I was getting the feeling from this. This is another one of those intuitions of, I don't think Triple H really trusts or likes LA Knight too much.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years, before the Unreal even dropped. Look at the way he's booked. Kev, how many times we've been saying this every week? He's booked to almost win every single time. Never does. You can tell by the way he Triple H even talks to him, Krishan. You can tell by the way he talks to LA Knight.
To a degree, let me. This is where I started questioning a little bit, because I have always been putting that on Triple H and WWE and going like, how do you not see this, right? Now, when it got to the spot in the Money in the Bank that LA Knight kind of blew that spot, and we all kind of get the spot. It's a very generic spot, but it does build the person where it's like, okay, you're the guy who's up on the ladder with the guy who's gonna win, and you're just inches away from winning, and then you get knocked off or you get cheated in some way. And that's like where you're like, oh, damn, LA Knight should have been the guy. And everybody goes into like the rest of the year thinking that, right? LA Knight blew that spot, and it's a very important spot. And Triple H really, like, that was the one time that you saw, except for the Road Dogg thing, that was the one time you saw Triple H actually get a little contentious. And it wasn't even that hard, but at the same time, it almost made me wonder, how many times has LA Knight actually done this? Like, to get Triple H to that point. And I kind of get the feeling that maybe, because if you think about it, the Money in the Bank spot, it's not something that like we may have like noticed right off. It wasn't like he botched something. He just missed a cue, more or less. That's not something we'll notice in the grand scheme of things in terms of a mess up, but in what they're trying to do in the psychology of it, it could be a complete, like, it could completely ruin an entire run. So, or a push. So I just was wondering, like, is LA Knight like a screw up and we just haven't noticed because it wasn't big mess ups? It was just little things that ruined his pushes. And WWE has been trying, and he's just a guy that maybe folds under pressure. I don't know. I just have to be fair. I don't want, because I've given Triple H a lot of scrutiny here tonight, so I got to be fair to him.
I don't think you're wrong. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I'm trying to put the right words to.
Well, real quick before you do, let me pick up, because I think that all this, I agree, because I think now we're seeing why LA Knight's not where people think he should be, and I've been saying this for years, and I've been saying this all year on the whole time I've been on with Kev for over a year now. LA Knight, I think, is a little overrated, and I can't say that to his fans because I get attacked on Twitter. To me, I'm not saying he's a catchphrase. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what you just said, Krishan. Does he fold under pressure? When the big now, granted, when he had a big pressure moment against Roman, did he look bad? No. To me, they wanted to push him after that, but did he fold after that? That's why I thought he was overrated for a couple years. Because how is he when he does get the opportunity? If they were to put the world championship on him right now, and I said this last year, when LA Knight was hot, when he lost that U.S. title, and everybody thought, okay, he's going to go up to the world title scene, this and that. You put the world title on LA Knight, how is he going to do? I'm not saying he's going to do bad. I'm not saying he's going to do good. But I have questions, and I don't have the full confidence in this guy to be a world champion. I think now we're seeing why. Because of what you just alluded to. Is he a problem backstage that we don't know about? So I agree with that.
It could even be that he's not necessarily a problem backstage, but when they
not
do
a problem,
give him
but
the
when
ball,
like big spots like that, like you said, that is a big spot. That is a problem.
Yes, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's what you mean. In
that's what I mean by the problem. Yes, because like Triple H says, like real quick, I want to throw it to you, Kev. They said it on season 1 where Chris Parker or Abyss was, Bruce with the whole Punk and Rollins match. It's like the producers can only do so much. It's up to the talent.
Right.
Yes. They have to execute.
No, I listened to what you were saying, and something comes to my mind where, it reminds me of when Madison Square Garden, when the Clique did when they broke the kayfabe war, when they went across against Vince McMahon's order, and they all decided to go in the corner and do the final goodbye. And of course, Nash was leaving, Hall was leaving, Shawn was getting pushed, and Hunter had to eat shit and like it. Could we be seeing that's what's happening tonight? But not because he broke kayfabe, because he keeps missing moments where they have ideas to really get him going and getting that skyrocket being put on his backpack, getting him the backpack for the skyrocket to make a lot of money, and he keeps missing either out of lack of memory, going into business for himself, not trusting, and maybe he has missed several spots where he has pissed off direct, producers and creative, and like shit, we had this envision, and you're becoming not difficult to work with, but insubordinate, where you're not retaining memory to where we needed what we talked about these matches without him blatantly saying, I forget sometimes, please. Maybe he's not, maybe they're trying to humble him and make him eat shit and like it, because not for nothing, like it or not, the guy is still over like a motherfucker. LA Knight, even with his casualties and all, even in NXT, everyone, that movement is wrong with LA Knight. Like her, I enjoy seeing Light, and also maybe Triple H thinks of him as well. I've seen this before. You're someone who's living off of something that we build with The Rock and Stone Cold, and maybe that doesn't sit well with Triple H. Where's your originality? You're not. Am I really gonna push I don't know. Maybe we're being far fetched with our statements towards LA Knight and trying to think what Levesque thinks or Pritchard. I don't know, but it could be that. It could be a combination of all that. It could be a negative perfect storm for LA Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of it like almost in terms of like, let's take like Stone Cold with the beer truck, and he goes out to the beer truck to get the hose, and he can't get the latch to open up or whatever, and then he just like he can't figure it out on the spot, so he just goes out and drinks a beer on top of the truck. It's like we didn't know what they had planned, that Correct. They had that great spot planned, and we can go like, okay, that was kind of cool. He came out with a beer truck, and it doesn't like really bother us that much. But WWE goes like, you couldn't figure it out, bro. Like, come on, you got to think on the spot. We had that great spot plan. Now it never happens. You know what I mean? Like, there's things like that I think happen a lot that we just miss it. Some of us can like, because I remember that end of that match, and I remember thinking like, and I remember some of us even saying like, that was a little weird, but it was that's how it ended. Like, we didn't really put our finger on what it was. So I don't know. It's just like, I just get the feeling that LA Knight, there's a lot of people. I was in the music business for many years, and there's a lot of people who have all the talent in the world. And then you put them on the stage and they're just like, they shrivel up. And you're like, what happened? You had to deliver there and you didn't deliver. So I tend to get that LA Knight can deliver, but when the real pressure's on, he just doesn't deliver. And I think WWE's more in the place with LA Knight that like, listen, he's coming out. I think he's almost 40, or is he 40?
He's in his 40s. Yes.
He's in his 40s. Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback off that too.
Let me just say this and I'll let you go. Is just
take your time, bro. You're making good points.
Yeah, I just think WWE is more like, listen, there's no lighting a fire under you. This is your time to deliver, or we're just going to give up. And I think that's where they're at with him, more than it is the curtain call kind of attitude.
Yeah, and like you said, or like Kev said earlier, maybe they've seen this before. Because look, people might not realize this. Like, before like LA Knight came in and he was like that stupid male model, whatever, like that, like LA Knight's been doing the Eli Drake thing for years. TNA, like I'm a TNA guy, Impact, like I've seen this already. Like I agree with Kev was saying, it's not original, but my thing I wanted to say about his age is it's now or never, guys, for LA Knight, because like you brought that up and I wanted to bring that up right away. He's in his 40s. He wasn't this big star that came from TNA into the WWE where everybody knew. Now, I don't know. They gave him a crappy gimmick, and then they gave him his gimmick back. And I mean, he's just over. I'm not gonna say he's just over because of the but I wonder where he'd be without that. That's just my thing.
He's becoming that, sadly.
It's sadly, and I don't want to fully say it, because do I think if you want to put him and Seth out there for a good 20 minutes, I think he could do it, no problem. But I do agree with that. It's you're not getting much younger, and it's now or never for you, dude. But I think he's fine. I just don't know where he would. I feel like that is just his thing.
It is,
he's a decent wrestler, but take out the and what is there to cheer for LA Knight?
Right. What it is, it's LA Knight is so talented, you have to get down to the nuance of it. And to me, it's like, okay, LA Knight can go out and have the match with Seth. I agree with you. He can go out and have a 20-minute match. It's not going to be the, it's not going
to be great or anything, but he can get it done.
He's going to get the crowd involved. They're going to be involved all the way until the end. Now, LA Knight, this is where that gets into the nuance. Is it going to be like where LA Knight, they tell him, listen, you have to kick out at 2 3/4. It has to be that close, because that's going to make the spot. That's going to be the spot that's going to get the crowd all the way involved and all the way. What's the word I'm looking for?
Invested.
Yes, and he kicks out at 2.5. That's what I'm saying. That's the little thing of where LA Knight just didn't get that level of greatness, that instinct.
And that's important. And maybe that's and maybe this is why Vince saw that Maximo Mil Max Dupree and he didn't see the LA Knight persona on him. That's why, as much as slack that they give the old man for lack of vision and creative, but if you look at his decision, other than the retribution nonsense, a lot of his stuff he sees. I mean, can you really argue like with LA Knight? Not wanting to have him do the LA Knight immediately, and so forth. I don't know. I hope that LA Knight makes us invested in his wrestling, because he's a great intro. He's a great get the people going hype. But now when the bell rings, that's the problem. And people that in the business, that producers and agents, when they give their review, maybe he's not scoring great reviews with his agents, his matches, breaking down, hey, you missed this spot. Like, you could have done this. We missed that. And I think that's what's hurting LA Knight, honestly, with it, for him being on the pinnacle top of the mountain. And they look, we got to give credit. They did all summer long. He was in that main event scene on Raw. Well, after they moved him from SmackDown to Raw, he was all through the month of July and the summer, featuring against the Vision and back and forth, entertaining main events. But he got the opportunity. But if they haven't really taken him to that next level, I don't know when it will be. This WrestleMania is going to be important if they even leave him off the card.
And they say it's that little 1% that makes somebody from being really good to great. And maybe and that's what I'm saying, unreal. And maybe that's again the storytelling, the controlled narrative that not Triple H, but WWE wants to tell us about LA Knight, and I'm falling for it. But it made me question it, at least, where I'm like, is he just missing that little 1% that where he's getting the full thing and WWE can trust him? I don't know. I question it now. As much as I like the guy, I question it.
Yeah, we'll find out. One thing that's 1% that we can surely not question is that damn Jimmy's Uso. He nailed it. He that 1% sperm hit the egg, and we know what happened to Naomi. Let's talk about Naomi's push and the unfortunateness that she's pregnant. And for her, it's great for them as a family, but unfortunately for the push for Naomi. Let's talk about Naomi and her rise here from the character change, her in-home, they left something out, which my wife was like, why did you leave the WWE? You walked out, and because your thoughts, Chris, on the whole Naomi.
They talked about that a little bit. They didn't really, she did say she doesn't want to get into detail about it.
Are we bringing back the burn?
Look, she said it. Hey, because was it Michael Hayes that was like, you just don't do that. You just don't do that. She was like, I don't want to talk about that day. Whatever. Then don't fucking put it in your part of the show. Don't even bring it up. Because honestly, that's the one thing I really want to know.
I want to know what the hell happened.
I'm younger. I've been watching. I watched Naomi during those funkadactyl times. All right, to see her rise, it's a good thing, because again, she should have had a little more opportunity. She didn't get it. Whatever. Again, we talked about this throughout the year when it happened on our weekly show after Money in the Bank, or not Money in the Bank. Excuse me, that Monday Night Raw, where she dropped the title and she said it. It's unfortunate because she was the only heel, in my opinion, on the roster at the time that was worth a shit. I actually felt like a heel. You know, I understand. Like, I don't think people are going to be. I think the days of full heels are gone, and I'm gonna tell you why. I bring up MJF as an example from AEW. Isn't he supposed to be this mega heel? He still keeps that persona, but everyone likes him. It was the same thing there. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I hate when I do this. I had something I was gonna bring up and didn't. But yeah, I mean, look, it is unfortunate because I don't know if she'll have that run like she was now. I don't think when she comes back, they can't just put her there unless Bianca is the world champion and she comes in and does something, which I don't know. But it was cool seeing her rise. But again, that one part about her walking out of the company, if you weren't going to go into specifics, I mean, bring it up. But again, like Kev said, you're peeling back the curtain. Is it because Sasha's no longer there? Is she having respect for, but they brought her name up. So I don't know.
All we want to know is why. What was offensively that she walked out? Did Johnny Laurinaitis fart in their face? What the hell? What is it that they dropped the title and left? What was it? We want to know. Because here's the thing: you invited us and talked about so much about it. You made a big stink about it. You might as well tell us then. You just kept telling us about it through 3 years later. Krishan?
Again, it's supposed to be the tell-all thing, but it's the controlled narrative. We're going to tell you what we want. And I think they did mention Sasha, but they called her Basha Sanks. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
I'm calling her Basha. No, I'm joking, but
oh, dude, I was about to say no, dude. I didn't.
That'd be hilarious, though, right? I got the feeling that Naomi, the reason why she was so vague with it, and she expressed this, I think she was just embarrassed by the whole situation, and she realized that she was being a fool. In the end, she realized too that her entire family was here. Her husband's here, like not here, but WWE. That's how she said it. But yeah, listen, Naomi, I think had one of the best years, 2025, before she got pregnant. I think she was she was skyrocketing. I didn't expect her to be such a great heel. I don't think anybody in the company did either. Even Hayes was saying it. I wanted her to get more into the leaving the company, but once I realized, okay, this is all we're getting, I just kind of was like, all right, whatever. Like, the thing that I could respect is that what she could have done, and I don't think anybody would have blamed her. Well, people would have blamed her, but people would have got it, is that she could have completely thrown Sasha under the bus, and she didn't. You know what I mean? She kind of took her.
Is that why she doesn't want to talk about it? Is that the real answer right there? Did you just say the real answer? I think it was Sasha's fault. And I'm not trying to take it off of Naomi because I like Naomi, but I do think that she just was following Sasha's lead, and she thought Sasha had way more power than she did, and she was like, I'll just hitch my wagon onto her, and it didn't work out. And Sasha was ready to leave, but Naomi wasn't. So she eventually caved, which I respect at the end of the day. Like, accept what you did, accept that you take responsibility. And that's what I think it was. I think she just kind of crawled back. And Sasha wasn't going to do that. And, you could say whatever about Sasha. That is what it is. But my point is I think she made the right decision at the end of the day. And WWE did take her back. I think they like her. And I think it's all because she's connected to the Samoan dynasty. Other than that, I think they wouldn't have cared. So, yeah, I think the Samoans had some pull in that. Definitely. And, that's pretty much all I would say about Naomi, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. The Samoan dynasty helped her keep that door open. And also her run in TNA. Her run in Impact in that Knockouts division helped her, where they believed in her to be a face of a company for the women's division, the Knockouts division. And they're like, man, you know what? We got something with her. Because her pop in the Rumble was great for return, and her love And again, that door was kept open, like the foot in the door was kept open because of the Samoan dynasty. There was no Samoan dynasty. I think that door would have been closed. That door would have been shut. Get out, you're out, done. Because again, if there was no legal issues with the situation, what was so taboo that they had to leave? That's all I mean, I would never get the answer to it. But man, I definitely wouldn't. What the hell was it? Why? What was so egregious? Because they were gonna put over. I believe Sasha was gonna pin Naomi, according to the report. So what was it? What I still don't know it. So they didn't want to lose to Ronda Rousey later down the road. If I remember the story correctly, it was weird.
I think Chris is right in that it was Sasha that led that. And
I do.
Yeah.
I do think it was Sasha, because to me, it's like I don't see why Naomi would leave. Not just her WWE, but like, you're gonna leave your, like, no decision. You're not gonna talk to your husband, who's on top of the card there as a tag team at the time. You're not gonna, like, you're just not gonna say anything to anybody, because Jimmy literally said in the documentary, I called her, I'm like, yo, where are you at? And then she was like, I left. And then, like, I wonder what he felt at the time too, because that's something big. And then the way that Michael Cole said it on commentary at the time, they made it seem like they just, like, went backstage, told them fuck you, and they're out. Like, I don't know. To me,
Tegan Knox situation.
I think it comes from that Naomi realized Sasha was wrong, so she went back to WWE, got her job, and she doesn't want to now throw Sasha under the bus because they're still probably friends,
right,
outside. Yeah. It's almost like if Chris and you and BX have a difference or whatever. You guys get into something and BX is completely wrong in the situation, and you guys behind the scenes have a conversation and you both realize, and BX goes, I was wrong, whatever. And you're like, look, we don't have to, tell the fans or anything. And then the fans ask and you go, we just had a difference. We just had a difference of opinion or whatever. Creative difference. Like you're protecting your friend. So I think that's what it was, is that she's just still protecting her friend. She's moved on from it. I think it's not, we care more about it than they do.
And Sasha's, and where Mercedes is now, and where she is, like, in AEW and all that stuff, like, I think that would kind of, I don't think she wants to hurt her rep either. That's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Too. She doesn't want to hurt her friend's chance of them making money or doing,
right.
Winning all these fucking titles and shit.
Yeah, because she's pregnant and she had opportunity. She just don't want to sound like a bitter person. But I'm rooting for her to get back. If she returns back to the top of the chain, I love that her reinvention with could proceed with caution. I like they gave her liberties about changing the briefcase and all that stuff. I like that. I like that part of the Unreal, the inside part of the briefcase. What's it about? What she's thinking when she's ready to cash in. That woman's evolution. Where she loses to Jade, and then nobody had that she was going to cash in and win that title that night on the Raw side of the titles. That was a pleasant surprise on our watch along when we saw that, and that happened. We were so pleasant because she just lost and she was bleeding through her nose and battered. We're like, we don't expect her back here. She's going to be bumping bruises, and bam, the ultimate swerve. When again, let's talk about when we mentioned earlier, when we get got or surprise, it gets us. Because remember, at the end of the day, wrestling is an escape for all of us. We're watching wrestling and we want to escape from everyday stuff. We don't want that to start being ruined, with the too much behind the curtains, the spoilers, the all the other stuff that comes with it. And that's what I appreciate when it came to that, when Naomi surprised us with winning that title and the cash-in part on that Unreal. I really enjoyed that part there. Anything particular that we want to get into before we almost bring the plane home?
I did want to mention this.
Yes.
Because this went viral. The Triple H and Io Sky interaction.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
This is one thing I do want to say. After all, because I'm a big defender of Vince McMahon, and it's kind of funny. It's like after all the things that Vince McMahon was accused of and maybe looking like he didn't actually do, it's it's funny, like all the inappropriate things he's been accused of, or inappropriate behavior with women. It's like I've never once seen Vince McMahon hug or do anything that inappropriate with a female wrestler. And the thing is, this is just like from the take of Triple H being her boss, you know, because like a hug, hey, how you doing? A hug, one hand, even a full hug, that's fine. But she was literally straddling him, like in a way of like, I haven't even seen Stephanie do that to him. You get what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think it was just a bad look as far as him being the boss. And I'm not even like a sensitive guy when it comes to this type of stuff, but it's like, to me, if Vince had a moment like that with a diva or with a female wrestler, it would be a national incident. There's a lot of apologizing going on for Triple H in this whole thing. And it's like, just be consistent. I'd be like, if there was a picture of Vince McMahon doing that with Io Sky and you guys don't have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it. I won't even talk about it. But don't have a problem with Vince doing that, and then where he never even did that, and then Triple H does it and you make a bunch of excuses for it. And secondly, Triple H is a married man. I think it's just inappropriate on that level. As a Christian and a conservative, as a married man, you shouldn't be hugging one of your insubordinates that way. I think it's a little weird to me.
I see your point, bro. Here's the only thing I see. Stephanie was in the gorilla, if I'm not mistaken. If she was or wasn't, there's cameras everywhere. I see it like a Triple H is known for having 3 daughters. I see like a girl dad embracing a daughter. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. Call me naive, and I shouldn't be, because it's still cynical. It's two separate opposite sex. So, that are not blood related. So you have to have that kind of cynical malice. But when I saw that, I felt it genuine, like a girl, like a father, girl dad just jumping into dad. I don't know. Maybe that, again, it's not apologetic. I saw it as that innocent moment. But then if you peel back the real world situation, yeah, it's kind of like, what is that girl? Why is that woman jumping in your arms like that?
Well,
I can see that.
I think a lot of people like try to look at it from that perspective. However, I look at it from this perspective, because a lot of guys will go like, oh, well, this is the apology that I see. Well, Io is just very affectionate and this and that. My question would be to those guys, right? Would you be comfortable if Io Sky was your girlfriend?
Right.
And hugged Triple H that way?
Right.
If I was Io Sky's boyfriend, and that came out on Unreal, I would probably break up with her, just out of like, you've embarrassed me. You get what I'm saying? Like, as a man now, like I'm not gonna go confront Triple H, not because I'm afraid of him, but I'm not gonna go ruin your job. You get what I'm saying? Like, you put me in a position that the only thing I can do is break up with you, or you gotta explain to me this whole thing. You gotta at least explain that to me. So I think it's like I get where you're coming from, and I understand like that. Yeah, he's kind of a mentor to these people, but there's a optics thing. And I'm not a sensitive person about this stuff. I'm not like a Me Too guy or anything. But if we're gonna be consistent about things, like, yeah, like if Io Sky worked at Walmart and her boss gave her a raise and she hugged him like that, I think everybody would look at it and go, "What? How did she actually get that raise?"
Fair enough.
I think that's fair, at least. Yeah.
Yes.
Chris, I don't think you've said anything on this.
No. Because I think you guys are both right. I think you guys are both right, because Kev talks about, the mentor. Like, I understand, Io's somebody who doesn't speak much English. She comes from Japan. Triple H is really one of the first mentors here in America in WWE that's, probably looked out for her. I can understand that. But I also agree with Krishan. That is your boss. And again, everything I just said could be used to an advantage.
Right.
It could be said as the opposite. I'm saying that in a good way. You could also think of that in a bad way. I mean, it does look weird. It looks weird. I didn't take much notice of it, like watching the show, until I saw it on social media. It's been normalized a little bit, not normalized, but like you look at, like, everyone says this about Punk, like he takes pictures with everybody but his fucking wife.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, does it not feel like we know he's a married man, he loves his wife, but like, it's just like people are looking at that situation, and like I see why people are looking at this, the same way. Like, I don't know. It's just it does look weird. I mean, I'm not gonna call Triple H a Vince Jr., but that is his father-in-law. That is the guy he has spent his career around. He's definitely see things that he can never ever talk about. When it comes to him, and so I mean, I think you both are right, but it does. If I had to lean on a little more side, it does look a little bit weird, only because he's the boss. He's the guy in charge. If it was anybody, if it was another producer, because I can also see Kev's point. Like, she's really excited. She might have just had the best match of her life. Like, Triple H might have just put the title on her. Like, oh, thank you. Like, she's in the moment. Like, I could get that, but again, if it wasn't the boss, I don't know. But I think you guys are both right.
There's a difference, because a lot of people are just going, "Oh, it was just a hug," and I'm like, "No,
that was not just a fucking hug.
That wasn't a hug. She jumped on his arm.
Like, that's where I'm on your. That's where I lean more on your side. Like, that's weird. Like, that's
Chris,
the boss.
I had a funny moment. I was doing stuff, like I was editing stuff for my show while I was watching it, and I heard them both talking. And like, I'm like listening to them talk for a second. I looked up randomly and I saw them do it. I'm like, what am I watching? What is this? I was like, this is, and again, I'm not a sensitive guy, but I was like, this is inappropriate.
It's just, it's just, he's married to Stephanie McMahon. Like, it's not just he's married to Stephanie McMahon. He's married in general. I mean, it just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think you guys are both right, but again, had it just been a hug, and even if it was a hug that went on for a little too long, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that either, because like, people hug and they're like, Triple H, like, you see it a lot. He's hugging, like, R-Truth, he's talking in his ear, like, yo, remember, like, because he doesn't want anybody to like know what he's saying, like, he wants to keep it private, like, that I get, but it was crazy.
Let me just show you how not sensitive I am, and I just want to make it's not even like me trying to prove anything on my ego or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to understand where we're coming from on this conversation. If she would have ran back right out of the curtain, jumped up and did that hug, and then let go, I would have been like, all right, whatever. But they literally had like they hugged, they held it, and had like a loving, longing moment, staring into each other's eyes and talking about her future. It was like, okay, this is getting a little too intimate. Where I'm like,
that's the correct word. It was intimate.
Too intimate. Where it was like, this is like beyond, like, okay, you've kind of stepped over a line, I think. And listen, let me be clear. I don't think Triple H is having sex with Io Sky or having an affair with her. I'm just saying, optics, if we're going to talk about optics and stuff with Vince even, and we're going to compare the two, like, let's just call a spade here. It doesn't look right. If Vince had a picture with Trish Stratus that wasn't on camera or part of anything, and that was a little intimate moment they had, I'd be like, all right, there's something to this Vince thing. But Vince never had that. Vince has been, like, as far as we've seen, on camera, not on camera, but off camera, like, relatively professional. We don't have full proof, except for the Janelle Grant thing, but that seems like it was consensual. But that's a whole different story. Go on, BX.
No, just listening to what you're telling me with that, with the Triple H optics. It's just, that's a thing, that's a staple with him, though. But we're not to the point of the legs or wrap around, the intimate moment. Everything else has been that, the finger point, the hugs, the thank you, the with Penta. We're talking about, Penta thanking them when he came back, when he first, that time in Netflix, when he returned for Raw, thanking the WWE and that those creative and all that great stuff there. That's what this show is about. It's some moments that's gonna make us feel a little uncomfortable, unreal, really comfortable, literally, and what's something that makes us feel good. You know, when we hear Paul Heyman says, "Yo, this MMF for Penta, he's over. He's got a major pop." I mean, and you see now with the different things. Your thoughts on this Penta, man? This Penta, I think this has always been there, but now it's being magnified with the WWE stage.
I'll be totally honest. I haven't been completely sold on Penta.
Okay.
Just in that, like, I think he's great in the ring. Don't get me wrong. Like, every compliment you'll probably give Penta, I would give him too, right? However, it's something like, I'm a wrestling fan that you have to, and I can't even explain it half of the time. There's something that has to just catch me, that keeps me like, I really love this guy. You know what I mean? Penta, for some reason, I haven't gotten that. However, I will say the whole Unreal thing and his little segment on there made me really like Penta for the first time. Like, it as a person, I was like, this guy seems like a genuine, and I don't know his past. I don't know if he has any controversies or anything, but I was like, he just seems like a genuine, like, nice family man that just happens to be a wrestler. Seems to have a good relationship with his daughter and like the whole thing, and like, just those things just got to me for some reason, where I was like, okay, I kind of like this guy. He seems like a good guy. They got to figure out how to make him like connect to me, but who cares if he's connecting to the majority of the fan base, right? I'm just one guy. So the thing I think though that I also was saying, and like, to me, I think he needs to like brush up on his English a little bit just to connect a little more. He can cut a promo in English, but there's like a part where I could tell he's like kind of holding back on what he really wants to say because his English isn't as good. And this could just be because I don't speak Spanish. So I just like, I could connect with everything that you would tell me and I connect with it. But the thing like of like where it's like, this guy, like, I'm a promo guy. So when you cut a really good promo, I can get into it. Even some wrestlers that do the Spanglish thing, but they're really good with Spanish just as good as they are with English. He lacks in the English thing a little bit, where like he disconnects from me, I think. However, if the fans like him, who cares? I can accept that he's just over, and I can't connect with him or relate to him. I like his look. I like his wrestling. I like his entrance. I just want to connect beyond that.
All right, I've got a question to ask, but I'm gonna first want to let Chris go about Penta, and Chris, your thoughts on Penta?
I mean, I'm somebody who's been following Penta's career for a while. He, like you described him, like what you would think people would think about him. He is that. I've never heard anything about him. He cares. He's really focused on his craft, respects Lucha Libre a lot. But I think your reasoning for maybe not connecting with Penta is totally fair. For multiple reasons. One, you mentioned, you don't speak Spanish. Me and Kev understand it. Me and Kev do. So for us, we can relate to his promos. We know what he's saying. So I can understand that. And I can understand where maybe if somebody doesn't feel like, okay, well, what's the difference between him and every other luchador, right? They all wear masks. When you think of a mask, you just think of Rey Mysterio, right? He's just another Rey Mysterio. I actually think he's not. I like his wrestling style. It's a little different from traditional lucha. He's not really high fly. He's very kind of strong style who can do a little bit of the lucha. But he likes the strong style matches. He's good at the gimmick matches. I think he's one of those guys too right now though in the WWE where, I mean, a catchphrase or anything like that can get you to the moon. We just talked about LA Knight. So is the Cero Miedo helping him? I mean, he's been doing that forever, but that is getting that on a mainstream level helps a guy like Penta, helps a guy like LA Knight. So I think him, that's good for him because the masks are selling like crazy. His merch, he moves merch. So like we mentioned, he's over. But I could see why people might think, okay, how can this guy? Because we see a lot of luchadors, you know, we see now they're partnered with AAA, so we're gonna see a lot more. How can this guy stand out, you know, more than all of them? I think he does do a good job just by his look. And I do think he's had good matches. He does work with some big name opponents in the WWE. So I do think Penta has something good going on for him. But again, I had the same criticism with I can't be a hypocrite because I do understand Spanish, and I can't sit here and say I love Penta and Priest and Ray when they do Spanish when I can't connect with EO Sky or EO Kev. You know this, I say this all the time. Oh my, like I can't understand it, I can't connect. So I got to be fair. That is something that Penta needs to work on, getting connected to a crowd like yourself who loves character. Because I'm one of those guys too, bro. Your words mean everything. Not just your words, but the way you deliver your words is the key to me when I'm listening to your promo. So, like you mentioned, when he wants to say some things, but he doesn't know how to get the words out. So, I agree. He does need to work on that, and I think it's fair. Why somebody might not see much in him, but I do think he stands out a little bit more than your traditional lucha.
No, I appreciate you you understanding that. And to like. I do see him standing out a little bit more. I do see a lot in him. It's not that I don't see much in him. It's like I'm trying to figure out the thing of like to compare it. I think I could compare him to Nakamura in a way. And then I'll use another example after. But Nakamura, for example, like they tried to get him to do the English thing, and then they meshed it with the Japanese thing and the whole. And I was like, that doesn't, for some reason, I couldn't click with Nakamura as much as I love the guy. I really do love the guy. It's just something I can't, it's the words. He needs to connect with me on that. Now, as a comparison, Asuka, right? When she just comes out and just speaks Japanese and screams it, I fucking love that. You know what I mean? And I don't need to understand it. But like for some reason, the way she does it and she just sounds angry and her screaming Japanese, it's not that like I don't understand it, but I connect to it because she's emoting something. So if she was just coming out, when she comes out and just does her like, like quiet promos and stuff, I'm like, that doesn't get to me. But when she just screams Japanese, I'm like, I love that because I get it. She's just angry. We all understand.
I love that too. But when she's having a face-to-face promo with somebody like a Becky Lynch, and then she does that, that's where I had to disconnect. Because Becky Lynch, she's a very, very good speaker on the mic. So when she does say something that like whatever, and then Asuka, like, I would like to know, like, I want to understand her response. I like that. I like when she's backstage with Kyrie, right? Or where she's doing a goofy segment back with Rhea. Or like what, that's I enjoy that. But when she's in the ring with like a Becky, who's somebody who's very, very good in the mic, and they're like talking like we are, that's where that is a disconnect for me.
I 100% agree with you. I think that's where we figured that out. Yeah, it's the in-ring promo to promo battle. Yes, is where they lose. Yeah,
right.
So, and that's why I would get.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like if you were to put Penta in that same position, he would lose me in that same way. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
All right, because that's what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say, I wanted to bring this, but I'll let you go, Chris. Who has the big? Who in your eyes see to have that bigger push in maybe 2026 or beyond? Penta or LA Knight? Because those are the two, and I know you mentioned that. That was why I wanted to hold, because I wanted to give your thoughts in, Chris. And I liked how that's why me and Chris as a team works great, because we're thinking on that same wavelength. I'll throw that both out to you guys. Who has that, Penta or LA Knight, that's going to get that next available push for the WWE?
To me, I'm going to say LA Knight, because the story is there with Seth. The way he was taken out by the Vision. Obviously, we talk about, if he can succeed or live up when he's in the big spots. But the reality is he's getting put in those big spots more than Penta. So, I mean, he could be booked better, but the fact that he has a storyline with Seth Rollins, he has a storyline with the hottest faction on Monday Night Raw, I got to say LA Knight.
I would agree in that there's more to do with LA Knight at this point. He's way more tangled up with way more people. And there's more deeper storyline to tell. However, I it goes back to my belief is that WWE just trusts Penta way more. They see way more in Penta, and that Penta's up there in age too, I believe, if I know that correctly. But I think they just trust him more. I think
40.
he probably 40, yeah. He's around the same age, but I think they just see more in him and they trust him more, and he probably executes better in high pressure positions. And he probably delivers better. So I'm gonna have to go with Penta as much as I want it to be LA Knight.
Okay. All right, interesting.
You got the now it's a tiebreaker. You got the tiebreaker.
It's a short story or short term. I think it's LA Knight. Long term is Penta. Here's one thing that worries me: pushing Penta into the tag team with his brother worries me, because then he'll never get that single star. So I'm leading more to LA Knight, for that and that reason only, because I feel like they're gonna use that as a crutch to. We really don't want to push him, or we could use that as an example not to push him. We'll put him in with his brother to be the Lucha Brothers to tag team work. And then he's gonna get stuck or stereotyped as a tag team wrestler. That's my only worry. So I'm gonna take the LA Knight route on this one.
And I just want to throw out there that I personally think, and maybe this is a controversial take here, I personally think Ray Phoenix, that's his name, right? His brother?
Yes.
I like him way better. I think he has way more, like he's way more talented in that, like he's cleaner in the ring. I think he's more creative in the ring. I don't know how his promos are, but I like enjoying watching Ray Phoenix more than Penta, to be honest.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I think I agree with you, Kev, because I'm somebody like, and the thing I can see, two things. I could see why you would say Penta, because he's had a little bit more, like he's been in Impact around the same time with Eli Drake, LA Knight. Then he went to like, to me, he has a little bit more, I don't want to say fans, but I feel like people could get behind Penta a little more, like as a wrestler than LA Knight. Like, I don't know. I could definitely see that, but I don't know. If you put LA or Penta and Ray Phoenix in a tag team and they're the Lucha Bros again, I kind of agree, Kev, because I feel like would it be like a Jimmy and Jay situation, other than we've seen? I mean, kind of, right? Because those two guys started off as tag teams together, and Penta's kind of like, you could say Penta's like the Jay of the group.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not cutting it on his own, and they put him back together. Because look what we're seeing right now with them. They're back as a tag team, and I think they're all of a sudden Jey Uso's cool again. Like I don't know, but at the same time, that could also hurt Ray Phoenix, because like it kind of like Ray Phoenix could feel like every time now that I see Jimmy and Jay as a tag team, Jimmy just feels like the odd guy out. They don't feel the same anymore.
Yes,
together.
Even like when they come out to Jay's music.
Come out to Jay's right. Like,
it's just me. It doesn't even make sense.
Okay, bro. Thank God
oh, you thought you were the only one? Yeah, me too.
Everyone's like, the Usos are back. The Usos. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy the Usos are back, because the tag team division on Raw sucks. But when you look at Jimmy now, he looks like little bro to Jay.
Background. Yeah.
He looks like, that's what I don't want to happen to Ray Phoenix.
Yes, and sadly, Jimmy Uso is the more talented twin out of both of them. He's better at cutting.
I think he's the most
wrestler.
He's the better wrestler. He's the most fun. He's the way funnier. He has in my opinion, a way better personality.
Yeah.
He like Jimmy Uso. Like, you see this guy on the reality shows. Like, he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And he can cook. Like come on. That shit, like, come on. No, I agree. And the fact that they haven't done much with Jimmy, like, it sucks, but I say all that to say I don't want that to happen with Ray Phoenix.
No, I agree with you. I think where WWE is holding they're called the Lucha Brothers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So where they're holding that, I think it's more like, okay, if let's say if Ray or if Penta kind of cools down a little bit, we can always just pull that trigger and bring that team back. It's kind of a in case emergency break glass kind of thing that they're doing with the Lucha Brothers. That's why they haven't given anything, even like them. I don't even think they've been on screen together yet, have they?
No, they were supposed to.
But
Yeah,
Penta got injured.
Yes.
yeah. So
Minor.
they're probably either going to tell that story, which I doubt, but I think it's more of a like, just in case we can pull that out, dust that off.
Yeah, we'll hope. That's why we don't want them to use it as a crutch, like you know, or like you said, last resort break. In
You don't
case
want
of
that.
emergency
Yeah.
break glass.
I get you.
When it comes to that. But all in all, this between season one and season two of this Unreal, I kind of enjoyed season two. To be honest with you, one was different, but this one was more. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know your thoughts. Final thoughts here on this season two.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than season one. I mean, season one we had John Cena, right? We had all these other things, but I think a lot, in my opinion, I think more interesting things happened this season. Like R-Truth, right? That was the whole thing. Seth Rollins, in my opinion, being the biggest thing. And you know, you don't hear much from like Becky and Seth's like personal like lives together, like. So, like, I mean, some of it's cool, right? And then Naomi, like, I think the subjects they chose in this season was better than season one. Now, we're going to get more episodes in the summer, so I hope us three are here, you know, that from in this summer, you know, covering season three. But I'm curious to now see season three. And the only thing is, like, I know I made a joke about it yesterday on our watch along where, oh, Triple H is in Jessica's ear right now. Tell him that, like, I can understand that people might watch wrestling a little bit different after seeing this. But it is what it is. I mean, if you're wrestling fans like us and who do, you know, this, you know that this is what they do. So I enjoyed watching it. You know, I'm excited for season three. I'm just curious to see what happens, and are they going to make stuff happen in the ring and in the on the product to make season three spicy? I don't know. That's something they would do.
It's a good question. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it is the WWE thing to do. Overall, like I said, it's like when Paul Heyman did his promo about like him hating the show and like I totally felt him. Like I was like, yes, I kind of hate the show, but I can't stop watching. I love it at the same time. So it's one of those. It's almost a guilty pleasure. As a wrestling fan, you know it's exposing the business. You know you shouldn't be watching it. It's almost like, remember back in the 90s when that guy did a whole like expose on wrestling and exposed how they cut their own heads and how they, as a wrestling fan, you're like, I know I shouldn't watch this, but fuck, I have to watch it. So it's one of those things, like I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I do love the show, even though I'm an old school wrestling fan that doesn't think we should be seeing all of this. I almost feel like, in a way, and this is where it's hypocritical, I feel like I should only be watching the show. I'm the smart wrestling fan that should be privy to all this. So part of that I like. If it was just me and like exclusive to like certain wrestling fans, I guess. But the fact is everybody gets to watch it and it's fun to watch. Is it gonna, I guess the question is it gonna hurt the business any more than it already has been? It's like Wrestling with Shadows. I love that documentary. I watch it all the time. And it completely exposes the business. So it's one of those things. I like watching it. It's interesting. Like I said, watching the whole, like them executing plans and storylines and getting that pop and all that stuff. Like it's interesting. It's really like I'm intrigued in just how it all works. So I don't know. I'm definitely gonna watch another season of it. I think they're actually gonna do part 2 of season 2. I don't think it's necessarily season 3 yet. And I assume,
okay. Part 2
Yeah.
of season 2. Oh, okay.
they said in the summer they're gonna drop new episodes. So I assume we're gonna get the John Cena.
That makes
retirement.
sense. Yeah.
Retirement.
Okay.
Brock
that makes sense.
Lesnar coming back
call.
at
Good call.
WrestlePalooza. I
Yeah.
kind of want to hear the bullshit they're gonna give us how they made WrestlePalooza come so quickly. They prepared it
Yeah.
so fast.
And how are they gonna lie about how happy ESPN was with the whole?
That was one of those, yeah. Or if there was actually counter programming that they did that, which I don't think they will. Then I don't think they're going to say that. They won't. I know, but we have to throw that out. Also, they limit the the Survivor Series matchup or the choosing of these storylines. How they got AJ Lee back to the fold. So I'm pretty interested to see how that goes there. Just to sum this up, season 2 here, the first part of it, Netflix, we don't know, is this story honest telling or a polished illusion pretending to be the truth? That's the question we ask you guys, and we try to work our best to have this spirited debate, this spirited collaboration with us here this evening, or this video. If you're listening to the video, watching this video, that's what we want to do, just have our opinions, our thoughts, and our collaboration. Of course, we want to thank the Midfit Nation. Please check them out there at the Midfit Nation podcast. Follow them on X. Follow Krishan Dashan. All that information will be on the video linked as well, so you can follow their link and give the like, subscribe to their channel. Of course, PGA Chris Production, 3DH Chris. You see him here on my channel. Always breaking down the great wrestling minds. We appreciate everyone this evening. Thanks to our sponsor, Dude Wipes. Thank you, Dude Wipes. We appreciate you guys for sponsoring the program. And Blackout Coffee, premium coffee for people who refuse to hit the snooze on life. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/Rumba. Use Rumba and save 20% off, or my personal reference code at SportsJedi20 and save. All right, guys. So this was our recap. This is our reviews. Don't forget, we always do our watch-alongs. We got the Royal Rumble. We got all the different stuff. We got some interviews coming up with some wrestling talents in the near future. This is Sports Jedi Network. Kev, PGA, Chris, Krishan, Deshaun, saying, may the sports be with you. We thank you guys, and may God bless you all. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, everyone. As I get the outro going and recording and... Represento las calles